Tonight on the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, this is it, the moment we've all been waiting for, the climactic final battle between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, and it is going to be to the death. But first, let's have an hour-and-a-half PSA about bullying and the possible ramifications of pushing someone too far. That's right, you heard me. A PSA about bullying and pushing someone too far. Tonight's movie, Halloween Ends. Eventually.
Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! Cuts, guts, and those sluts! Tonight. You know, I was planning on doing this review on the 31st, since, you know, it will be the final episode of this year's 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, plus it will be on Halloween, and it's a Halloween movie, so I thought it fit well, but something inside me just said, I can't let it end like this. I can't. I just can't. And that's because the movie I'm reviewing tonight is Halloween Ends. Yes, I know, if you can think about all the way back, how many, like, what was it, 27 days or so ago, I reviewed Halloween Kills, and now I am reviewing the final installment in the new trilogy, the epic final showdown between Laurie Strode and Michael Myers. So, Halloween Ends. Yeah, Halloween Ends. Yes. Oh, this is gonna be a long video. Holy, it's a movie, and things happen. Some things, and yeah. So, Halloween Ends. What is it about? Well, it takes place 4 years after the events of Halloween Kills. And if you were to remember my review of Halloween Kills, I had an issue with the ending of that movie because it sort of poorly sets up the follow-up movie, and apparently the people who wrote Halloween Ends agreed and decided to kind of just sort of ignore a lot of the big things that happen in Halloween Kills. I mean, 4 years later, and Haddonfield seems pretty much unfazed by what happened in the last two movies. In fact, I would think they would kind of ban Halloween for several years because it's just like a tragic reminder of lots of death, but apparently not. Everyone's getting into the Halloween spirit, including Laurie Strode, who in the previous movies spent 40 years preparing almost fanatically, or obsessively actually, for the return of Michael Myers, afraid that he was going to escape and try to kill her, and guess what happened? He escaped and tried to kill her. So she was right in her paranoia. But for some reason, in Halloween Ends, we live in middle of town, unsecure area. I'm gonna put up Halloween Halloween decorations, and I'm just gonna, like nothing happened. Not like certain family members died or nothing, right? Anyways, so yeah, just living a normal everyday life, writing a book about her memoirs. Her trauma and pain, which seems very distant, especially in the beginning of the movie. Anyways, so we meet this young man who's in his 20s named Cory, who, a year after the events of Halloween Kills, is babysitting for a family that's going to a Halloween party. A Halloween party a year after the massacre that occurred. Makes sense, I guess. And one thing happens, and the tragedy occurs, and the boy dies, and he becomes, Cory that is, the town pariah. Everyone hates him because they think he got away with murder, even though it was clearly an accident, and the court of law agreed. But whatever, I guess. One day he's at a gas station, and he's picking up a Yoo-hoo or something. I guess he likes chocolate milk. That's his thing, I guess. Anyways, and he ends up getting bullied by a group of high schoolers. High schoolers that are a member of a marching band. Because the marching band students are always known to be the roughest, toughest, meanest sons of bitches in all of high school. They seem to have remembered high school much more differently than, what's going on nowadays, I guess. But anyways, Laurie happens to be there and kind of saves him from the marching band students. And he's injured, and he Laurie takes him to a clinic where he meets Laurie's granddaughter. I believe her name's Allison, I believe. Anyways, and she immediately falls in love. Immediately, just boom. Instantly hungry eyes. And she aggressively pursues him. She is like a hungry tiger that's looking at a steak. Anyways, so they become boyfriend, girlfriend, and let's say he gets more confidence, and later on, he ends up meeting the bullies, the marching band gang, and things didn't go very well for him. He ends up getting pushed off the bridge. Not a large bridge. It doesn't kill him, but it hurts him pretty bad. And that act sets off a series of events that leads to murderous consequences for all those involved. Oh yeah, Michael Myers shows up here and there and at the end. Well, let's get to those scores, shall we? Yeah. Violence and Gore, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. This is the one consistent thing throughout these 3 Halloween movies, is that it has it has brutal violence. Brutal violence. Very, very, very brutal stabbing, bloody, just, head crushing, and there's a wonderful scene with a blowtorch that's a little blurred, and sometimes when I'm watching this, there are things like, you get this wrench and there's this girl and you think you're going to see the wrench just destroy her, but you only see the aftermath. And I start to think that, yes, I realize that, I live in the unrated world where I watch a lot of movies that never got rated. And I realize that perhaps there will be an unrated cut of this movie that we will see a bit more of the violence. It felt like it may have been pulling some of its punches, but no, in my mind, I realized that, they probably didn't want to get an NC-17 rating. So, but still, it's a lot of violence. So 5 out of 5. Moving on to shock value, I'm going to give it a 2 out of 5, which I think is higher than the kills one, because there were actually a couple, good jump scares toward the beginning of the movie, and some of the kills are a little shocking. The DJ thing I thought was pretty neat and somewhat unexpected. Just, chiclets, my friends, chiclets. So 2 out of 5. Moving on to plot, and it's not as brutal a score as I gave Halloween Kills, because that movie pretty much had zero story. The problem is that this movie just kind of lives in an alternate universe where only some of the stuff that happened in the previous movies happened, apparently, because the logic of this film just does not flow from the other movies at all. So the score is 2 out of 5, which I think is kind of generous, because the more I think about the movie, the more it really dawns on me that they wrote themselves into a corner, I think, in Halloween Kills, and realized that they just couldn't do anything based on what they did at the end there. So they decided, well, let's just say Michael Myers just decided to disappear, right? Michael Myers just going there, staring out the window, looking at his reflection. Man, I killed a lot of people tonight. Damn, a lot of people. You know what? Time to retire to the sewers. Right? Yeah. I'm done. I've had my fill. Bloodlust, satiated. I don't know. It makes very little sense. The town makes no sense. You have this traumatic event, and the town just acts as if it was no big deal, because there would be a moratorium on Halloween celebrations. The DJ would get his ass drugged through the streets because of how flippant he is about Michael Myers and the past trauma of the town. I mean, literally, tone deaf doesn't even begin to describe his demeanor when it comes to that subject matter. And once again, Laurie Strode, she was obsessed with the idea that Michael Myers was going to come and kill her. And then he came and tried to kill her, killed a bunch of people, and then just disappeared. And you would think every Halloween she'd be freaking out because he's still out there. But no, she's not. She's not even seeming to fazed by it. So, I mean, honestly, she's got the best therapist in the world. Literally, Cory, right? I mean, it's and there's other nonsensical things, like the woman who got her neck, just all up in Halloween Kills survived miraculously. I mean, how did she call 911? Like, she can't even speak. No one would know. Plus, the police were fucking busy as all hell with all the death and murder going on. And she's bleeding out, like, from her neck. I don't know how you live. How did you get to the hospital in time to save yourself? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, you watch that movie, you assume she's just dying, bleeding out while watching her husband become like a pincushion, except that it's not pins, it's knives. But, you know, what do I know? And of course, like, the whole point is so that her sister can blame Lori. You kicked the hornet's nest. You know, you antagonized them. Antagonized them how? By existing? Or is it the fact that she created the death house that was a trap for him? I mean, like, she tried to end it. How is that? I mean, like she should be a hero for attempting to end the whole thing. But also, I have to think, somebody called the freaking fire department to put that shit out. And it probably, you know, so who knows? It could have been that neighbor. In fact, it might have been her fault that she called the fire department and all this stuff happened because of her. But anyways, this is just like the tip of the iceberg too. It's like I could just spend all kinds of time picking apart every little piece of this plot that just doesn't make any logical sense. And the whole thing is like, I understand that they were doing something different, I guess. And they were making this story about how, you know, there's a darkness inside of us and we have to fight against it. And it was kind of in its tragedy about a man who, you know, it wasn't his fault, the things that happened to him, and then he becomes abused and he got pushed too far and he broke, and then, you know, violence occurred because of it. I understand that. The thing is, like, that's an interesting story, but is it Halloween? I mean, perhaps it could be a Halloween movie later on after the Michael Myers saga is over. Is just part of an anthology now. It could have been like that. It could have been, you know, a side story. It felt sort of like a side story. You know, Halloween Gaiden, right? You know? But it just really felt like they didn't know what to do. And then at the end is just, it feels so tacked on. It's like, they're like, okay, we dealt with the Cory story. Oh shit, we still got the Michael Myers, Laurie Strode thing. Okay, get them together, fight. I mean, seriously, it feels so tacked on. It feels so out of place because it's just like, there's the end, and then like, oh yeah, by the way, I guess Michael Myers shows up and time to battle royale, right? It just didn't work. Because it just felt like just some sort of appendix. A little, oh yeah, like, oh yeah, by the way, we're filming Halloween Ends. Right. Let's end this. You know, it just number of things wrong with that. And in a bubble, I guess the movie would be okay, but let's move on. Let's move on. So, plot 2 out of 5, I think, is very generous. Acting, I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. This time, Jamie Lee Curtis has a lot to do, and I think she does a much better job this time. Less screechy and somewhat unhinged than before. And, you know, Cory, okay, there were times where, you know, you felt like the damage, but for the most part, everyone else was just okay. It was all right. I mean, nothing too really memorable, either good or bad. So, 3 out of 5. Moving on to Nudity, and yeah, I mean, recent horror movie, 0 out of 5. However, we had a scene where the floozy nurse or nurse assistant or whatever and the jackass doctor, she goes to his home, and he's like, here, put on something more comfortable, take a shower and stuff like that. So she's about to take a shower. So there you have it. You have your opportunity to put some pizzazz in the movie, and no, of course not. And of course, Cory and Allison have sex. At least, we think that they're lying naked together in a bed. You don't see nothing, but I mean, 0 out of 5, guys. You definitely had a chance to spice up the movie. You blew it, and kind of teased at the same time. We all know how I feel about teasing. Anyways, I can't be any more disappointed by this moment. Anyways, oh shit. Excuse me. So moving on to enjoyment factor, and it's a 2 out of 5. Honestly, I wanted to like the movie, and it's a watchable movie. It has entertainment value. There are parts of the movie that I do like, and there are some that I really like. But there's just so much wrong with the film. The movie is more like a revenge flick with the Halloween end tacked on to it. And because the thing is, like, sometimes about slashers is you need some sort of ambiguity. You need to, like, I don't know who the killer is, or I got to constantly fear the killer is around the corner somewhere, just hiding in the bushes. And in the other Halloween movies, at least all the ones that I remember seeing, except for Halloween 3, which didn't have Michael Myers, the presence of Michael Myers always loomed like a cloud, a heavy cloud, in almost every scene, because you just didn't know if he was there, if he was watching, if he's around the corner, if he's just going to pop up somewhere. And that's the thing that this movie sorely lacks, is the presence of Michael Myers. There is no cloud. We know what's going on in this sort of revenge story. And the thing is about good revenge stories is that we root for the person getting the revenge, because the people he's getting vengeance on are really pieces of shit, deserve to die type of people. And unfortunately, in this movie, even though they're kind of shitty people, they don't really deserve to die. And we're sort of pulling against that, going, no, redemption arc. You can redeem yourself. You turn back now, before it's too, it's like a Greek tragedy in a way. And I understand that, and I understand what they were trying to do with that. It doesn't work in this context. It doesn't. It's more like a drama with loads of violence. An action drama revenge flick that is a slasher horror film, because there was no tension. There was no fear. That's why I said, like, when I was talking about jump scares, it was early in the movie when they tried to do some tension. But after that, there was just nothing. Literally nothing. No tension, no build-up, no uncertainty, no cloud of the killer all around. We're just watching events unfold. So, yeah, very disappointing. And, I mean, I can understand they kind of, fucked themselves with the ending of Halloween Kills. They could have done things so much differently with that movie's ending that could have led into this being at least a bit more logical. But they didn't, and because of it, the movie is a mess. And it's such a mess, and I've been talking about it for so long, that my camera's battery died. And so the weird edit here had to wait for it to charge back up, because I've just keep talking. But it's such a frustrating movie because, like, the setup from Halloween Kills just needed some other way of this ending than what we got. So, anyways, 2 out of 5. Like a waste of some decent kills. A waste of some decent kills, honestly. But moving on to overall impression, and honestly, even as I'm standing here rehashing and rethinking about this movie, I think I'm being probably overly generous by giving it a 2.5 out of 5. Look, the movie is well shot. It doesn't have that. It doesn't look too clean like some of the more recent horror movies tend to have a little bit too clean look. There's not as much grit, dinginess to it. I'm not saying that this is gritty or grainy, but it definitely didn't like stand out to me like how clean the movie looked. But so well shot, acting was pretty good. Just the execution of the plot and the plot itself just really falls flat. And I mean, I really kind of just want to give it like a 2 or even worse. But, I'm trying to be fair. I'm trying to be fair to the movie. I'm trying to be fair that, it wasn't like some lazy, not like a lazy video. Anyways, so yeah, it just fails to work. The movie just fails to work. What they were trying to do, I can see what they were trying to do, what they were trying to go for. It didn't work. It did not work. It's not scary. It's not, the horror elements are there, but it's not even a popcorn movie at this point. Because the thing is, you can't enjoy certain aspects of it because it lives in a world that just so divorced from the rest of the movies that it just makes no sense. If this would have happened 30 years later, maybe it worked better. But then and the thing is, like, the ending is just so tacked on. Like, it just... But I digress. I've been talking about this for way too long. Definitely one of the longest videos in 31 Nights of Halloween horror history. Thank you for, if you've made it this far, thank you for trekking through this. But honestly, it's like, I could just go on and on. And much like Halloween Kills, where I could have just gone on and on, this really, really just irritated me more so. And honestly, I came in there with low expectations because of I've heard things. I didn't get it spoiled, but I heard things, and so even with the bar set low, it didn't even get there. I'm sorry to say, if you like the movie, that's great. I can't understand how you could like this movie. In a way, I think perhaps you were just liking it because it's a Halloween movie and you have some sort of need to like Halloween movies because you're a Halloween movie fan. I don't know. It's a lot of times with movies, I can understand when people, people who like certain movies that I don't like, I can at least understand the reasons why. Just like, some movies that I like that people don't like, I can understand why some people don't like the movie. But with this movie, I can't understand why anyone would say they love it. Because what is there to really love about this movie? I mean, like, okay, there's pieces, but like there's those pieces, you could just watch clips of the pieces. I don't know if I want to watch this entire thing again. I probably will, because, I'm going to complete my collection, whatever. But also because, maybe there's a director's cut. Maybe there's an alternate ending. Maybe there's something there that I can use to, like, at least fix my issues with this movie. It won't fix it, but it might add a little bit more insight. I don't know. I don't know. 2.5 out of 5. It probably should be lower, but I'm going to be nice. I go into movies wanting to like them, because I don't have a lot of time. So watching a movie is an investment for me. So if I think the movie is going to be horrible, I probably just don't watch it. So every time I watch a movie, I'm hoping for something good and entertaining. And when it happens, it's great. It's awesome. And I give movies a lot of benefit of the doubt. I'm probably one of the more lenient film critics out there when it comes to movies. There's certain movies that I probably could tear to freaking pieces. Give out way more 1s than 2s and 3s, right? So anyways, but I just gotta get it out. Okay, all right. So anyways, 2.5 out of 5. That averages out to a 2.4 out of 5, which is, not great. Not great. That violence and gore bonus points really helped this one out, because my goodness, if it didn't even have that. So, there you have it. Halloween ends. Leave a comment in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? What did you think of Halloween Ends? Give me your perspective, because maybe you'll tell me what I'm missing. I don't know. I can't see it. I just don't. Anyways, so thank you for watching another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, and especially this one going through what's probably going to be more than a 30-minute video. Holy crap. Anyways, so until next time, thank you once again, and remember to stay scary, Internet, and as always, if you're getting bullied by the marching band, it's time to reevaluate your existence, because it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad if the marching band students are like totally terrorizing you. You need to take a look at yourself in the mirror and go, what is wrong with me? And why can't I even get the respect or fear of the marching band dorks? Come on. Yeah. Anyways, that's about it.